Welcome back to the cafe. Louis V here, sharing with you my latest vinyl finds. And I have a whole bunch to share with you today, so I hope that you're sitting at home nice and cozy, got yourself a latte or a cup of coffee, and you're ready to talk about some records. Now, if you're new to the channel, I have a wide assortment of music I collect. You're gonna see on here blues, jazz, classic rock, some EDM music. It's gonna be like a roller coaster, a wild roller coaster. We're gonna go over so many different genres, so many different music tastes. I am certain there's gonna at least be something in here for you. Now, I mentioned on a previous haul video that I did last week where I revealed 25 of my latest new ads that I am drowning in records. I am going to share with you only a small fraction of new records that I've got in. I have another stack of records behind these that I'll put out a video probably next week on. And then I have two collections that I've come across. One that was gifted to me by a friend via his late aunt's passing. We're calling that the California collection, which I did a video on. And then I have a collection I bought in Smithfield where it came from a family member that passed away. The gentleman had it for years, been sitting on it for years, and just quite frankly wanted his storage back. So he was willing to part with it pretty inexpensively. It is literally hundreds and hundreds of records. I have it piled up in my hallway right now that I haven't even had a chance to go through. I don't know the condition of them. I spot checked a few of them. Some of those records were scratched, some of them weren't, but I don't know what's even in the boxes. There was so many of them that I just grabbed into them. That's not these though. These are ones that I've grabbed from, majority of these are from local stores and a couple things from Acoustic Sounds that I remember right. I don't remember the order. There's no specific order here. We're just going to dive in and talk about each album. So I hope that you're ready to go. Okay, the first album I want to share with you today is Keb Mo's Oklahoma. This is the 2024 US pressing. Now, this album is a fantastic blues album. If you're not familiar with Keb Mo, you ought to be. I have, I think, another record of his that I'm going to go through today, but so we'll talk about him pretty much a bunch of times today. But he is a fantastic singer, fantastic songwriter. He's just got a great voice and produces albums that, man, not a lot of people produce albums like this anymore. What I mean by that is there's a story behind each album. They kind of, if you play them from the first track down to the last track, there's a whole story that involves, one of the albums talks about being single, on the prowl, finding the love of the life, fighting and divorcing, and how happy it is to be single again. I can't remember which album that is, but literally, like, if you play the album and you read the lyrics, that's what you get. Now, this particular album won the Grammy for Best Americana Album in 2020. It is cool to have this on reissue. It sounds phenomenal. And the two tracks here that I would recommend for you to stream if you're not familiar is Oklahoma, which is an awesome song, and Put a Woman in Charge. That features Rosanne Cash, and that is a brilliant song. It's not politically charged or anything, but it is it's an homage to, I think, his 93-year-old grandmother. So both songs are just fantastic. If you're not familiar with Keb Mo, you're missing out. This is the deluxe red vinyl edition, so some will say it's collectible. I don't know. I do like the 24-page booklet that comes with this one, but man, oh man, if you don't have Keb Mo in your collection, this is one to add. I think you'll really, really enjoy it. At least give it a stream and see if it's your taste. This is a new album as well. This is Sofi Tukker's Bread, which really stands for Be Really Energetic and Dance. I didn't know that, honestly, until the album came out, but it does have this weird fascination with bread. The music videos have all these bread themes. She has a bread dress. There's bread everywhere on this album. So I don't understand the connection, but I think they're just trying to be fun and uplifting and not taking too serious, which is what, frankly, Sofi Tukker music should be about. Now, if you're not familiar with Sofi Tukker, it is two people. It is Sofi and Tukker. It's probably better to show you that way. Put together, you got Sofi Tukker, and they're known for their energetic live performances and unique blend of house music with pop elements. The tracks here that are probably worth you streaming that I know they have videos of is Throw Some Ass, Hey Homie, and Woof, which features K-Lo. So they're the three that I think will get your audience moving at your next party. You want to get some people dancing, or at least thinking like, what the heck are you listening to? That's going to be this. From an album standpoint, I have pretty much the entire Sofi Tukker discography. In fact, I am certain I have all of them. I think audibly this is the least impressive album, but it's still a good album. Sofi Tukker Average album is still a great album by all means. It's just that I think it's called Dancing with the People. To me, that is the best album they ever produced. But this is a good grab. It's got some good songs, some refreshing takes. I don't know. The one song I wish they had there, they did a live song on a radio show a while back. It was like a Brazilian song that I haven't seen pressed anywhere. I don't remember the name of the song. I need to go back and look, but I was really hoping it to be on that album, and I didn't see it on that one. So I was a little bit disappointed about that, but that's just a personal thing because I'm a Sofi Tukker fan, and I love to have a studio version of that song they perform live. The next one up is Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Pass. This is Fitzgerald and Pass again. This is a stunning collaboration between two jazz legends. You got Ella Fitzgerald and Joe Pass, and this is a limited edition on the acoustic Analog Productions Acoustic Sounds Pablo series. Now, and it's numbered as well. So when I mean by limited, this is a numbered edition. You can see there, I'm number 72. I have the subscription to the Pablo series. Now, you'll notice I have a separate record here outside that's still sealed, but I do have the record that came with the album here that I clean. When I clean them, I replace the sleeves. I don't like using the same sleeves because any of the dirt, debris, or anything that came from the factory is still on the sleeve, even though you clean the record. So I always change them, even if they come in a nice sleeve to begin with, which is sort of a shame, but then I repurpose them for records that I sell or donate them to my local. The reason you see that, though, is that I actually had issues with the pressing on this one. There was a lot of like inner groove distortion, and I don't know, there's just something going on. It didn't sound right. I played the next one, which is Sarah Vaughan album. I'm going to show you in a moment. That one sounded fantastic. This one did not. I recorded a clip of it, sent it to the Acoustic Sounds customer service, and the same day they sent me a new record. I haven't spun that new record yet, quite frankly, because I've been waiting for my new Humming Guru Nuevo to come in, which I'm going to do a review on. And if that's something that interests you, make sure you subscribe and notify so you get notified when that review comes out. But I've been waiting for that, so I'm actually queuing up a bunch of records to clean just to test out the new ultrasonic cleaner. Anyway, about this album, this has Joe Pass on it. You're probably less familiar with Joe Pass. You're probably more familiar with Ella Fitzgerald. Joe is one of the greatest jazz guitarists. He's known for this like innovative fingerstyle technique, which just sounds amazing. This is, you see the name is again, because this is the second of 4 duet albums that were recorded together. I just wish that my first listening experience of this album was better. The times where the record did sound good, it sounded phenomenal. It's just, man, whatever was going on with that pressing just destroyed it for me. So I'm really hopeful the resend of the record, it solves the problems and I can actually enjoy this fantastic album. Okay, onwards to Sarah Vaughan. How long has this been going on? Again, this is part of the Pablo series. So this is a new record, 2024, pressed at QRP, so US pressing. Now this recording was originally released in 1978, and it is a sublime jazz album with Vaughan's signature smooth vocals. If you're not familiar with her, get familiar, especially if you love jazz. I think you'll really, really enjoy the album. And it's accompanied by the quartet of Oscar Peterson, so it is a fantastic sounding and beautifully put together record. All of the Pablo series records, by the way, have been wonderful. I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. The first one is the only one I didn't really care for too much, was called the Alternate Blues, which was basically the same recording of the same song over and over and over, just different takes. The reason why is because they kept messing with the time signature and the artist just couldn't get in sync on when the time signature changed. So they just kept recording the same song. Now, if you're fans of that group and you're fans of that song, seeing how all that came together is fantastic. But I don't know, after the second or third time, I was like kind of done and I was ready for something new to listen to. That was just me. Okay. Ray Lamontagne, this is Long Way Home. This is his latest album, 2024. I think I pre-ordered this one. It's the S'mores vinyl. It doesn't smell like s'mores, but I don't know why it's called S'mores vinyl. It's a Spotify exclusive, so you get this by being a fan, and then you get an email that says, hey, you listen to a whole bunch of Ray. Do you want to buy his album directly through us and pay a lot more money than you normally would? And of course, people like me say yes. If you're not familiar with Ray, he's got a very soulful voice, a lot of introspective lyrics, and I think this album brings a fresh perspective to his sound. It is his 9th studio album, so a lot of maturity has gone into here. I think the Step Out single here would be Step Into Your Power, would be the song I would stream, which just ironically is the first song on side A. I gotta tell you, man, I don't know if there's a bad Ray album. If you love his music, he's consistent, and I mean that in a good way. You don't really get a whole bunch of surprises in the albums that he puts out. You kind of know what you're getting before you even get into it. Okay, let's talk about Heart. This is Bad Animals. This was originally released in 1987. And this is the OG 1987 pressing of Heart Bad Animals. I got this at the local. I mentioned in my previous video with the 25 new ads that some guy donated a whole bunch of rock albums covering from the 70s all the way up to the early 2000s. Majority of those records were in mint condition. This is one of them. Still has the shrink wrap on it. Imagine that. So this to me is just really cool album to have. This is their 9th studio album. It ended up being triple platinum, and it includes the massive hit, the one that you know, Alone. That was the one that reached #1 on the Billboard Top 100, Hot 100 list in 1987, and you could still hear it on the radio today. Now, if you're wondering what is the take on the name here, the album title refers to the band members themselves. They would call themselves Bad Animals because they would show up at these hotel lobbies after playing in concerts just looking disheveled, and they would wear sunglasses, and I don't know, they just were exhausted. So that's what they kept calling themselves as a nickname when they would walk into a hotel, and just the name stuck for that album. All right, we got John Cougar Mellencamp, also part of that rock collection that got traded in at the local. This is 1983, and this is the 1983 pressing. And what's interesting about this particular album is that it's when Mellencamp was kind of transitioning from his stage name, which was John Cougar, to John Mellencamp. And then he just kind of has it all here, right? John Cougar Mellencamp. So he was still trying to figure out how he wanted to present himself. But this has some awesome songs on it. Crumbling Down and Pink Houses are, I mean, everybody, I think, at least in America, has heard the song Pink Houses at least once in their life. It's still played actively on the radio today. Probably one of John's #1 songs ever, and it's on this album. And I gotta tell you, this is not a bad sounding album. I don't think Discogs gave it so great. I think they gave it, I don't know, it was either a high 3 or a low 4, or maybe it was a mid 4. I can't remember. It wasn't terribly high, but a lot of your classic rock records to me, it sounded like a classic rock record. I had no issues with it. Is it the most audiophile thing in the world? No, but it was never intended to be. It was always tended to be a little bit dirty and raunchy and gritty sounding. And to me, that's what you get out of it. So I liked it. Being the 83 pressing, I think it's a good pressing. I am not actively seeking a replacement. I think that's a pretty cool find, pretty good piece of history, and it's cool to hear Pink House's on the actual original pressing. So I don't know, I thought that was really, really cool. Okay, Alice Coltrane, this is Transfiguration. This is part of VMP, so this just came out. This is in 2024 US pressing. It's a spiritual journey in jazz, if you're not familiar. All of Alice's music is just this, it's like experimental, spiritual jazz. Either you're into it or you're not. It's not my really style, to be honest with you. I love John Coltrane. Alice, I don't know. I struggle on it for some reason. I think it's just me with spiritual jazz. Like, I'm not really into Sun Ra and stuff. I know he's really big lately. He's got a whole big following on the internet. There's probably people watching this right now are big Sun Ra fans, and that's fine. I mean, you like what you like. We all have different tastes. I'm just not the biggest spiritual jazz person. I like a little bit more structure to the music and less chaos. I think my life is already chaotic as it is. I don't need it in the music. I don't need to be, this is my kind of my complaint too, not complaint, but my observation with like really heavy metal, the type of heavy metal is like yelling and screaming at you, heavy metal. Like, I already have enough people yelling and screaming at me on a daily basis. Now, I will tell you, I will put on these albums if I'm in a certain mood. Right, but I gotta be in the mood for him. Anyway, that's just me. I got off tangent there. Sorry about that. That happens once in a while. Mesmerizing harp on here. Got some organ, high fidelity. It's pressed well, sounds great. This album was originally recorded live at UCLA's hall in 1978, and man, they recorded this really well because it sounds great. It's part of the VMP Classic series. Packaging is fantastic. The album sounds great. Can't really go wrong with that if you're an Alice Coltrane fan. This next album is one I'm really excited about. I played it. I loved it. I actually played it, I think, back to back, which is a little bit of a rarity for me. But you'll notice I'm a fan because I talked about him earlier, and that's Keb Mo. And this is his self-titled album. This is a 2011 US self-titled album, which honestly is probably his most popular album he's ever released. I personally love Suitcase. That's my favorite album he's done, but this is likely the most popular. This blends that blues with some contemporary folk and country elements all wrapped up into one beautifully presented album. The tracks here that you would probably want to give a stream if you're interested in learning more. Victims of Comfort is a really good song, and Am I Wrong are two really good songs that I think you would enjoy. This is part of the MoFi. I'm trying to skim through it to see if it mentions anything about the DSD. I don't see anything on here at first glance, but you can assume that probably is the case. I'm not really certain. It doesn't matter because it sounds phenomenal. Really, really happy with it. It's cool pressing, by the way. Okay, next up, this is another one from the local. It is Billy Squier, Signs of Life, 1984. This is the 1984 pressing, and it features the hit song, Rock Me Tonight, which we need to talk about. That song, when it came out, was a massive commercial success. It reached number 11 at its time, and then Billy said, man, I'm going to put together a music video. And that music video ended up launching the end of Billy's career. A hit song on the radio turned music video ended his career. It ended his career. He lost all credibility. He had a bunch of folks within inside of the music, sphere of influence talking bad about him. And here's the reason why. The music video, which is hailed as the worst music video in MTV history, has to do with our ignorance in the mid to early 80s. One of the main reasons Billy's reputation got tarnished is because it has him just kind of waking up and getting dressed and kind of dancing around the room And then what you notice is he starts putting on a pink shirt, he starts playing a pink guitar, and homophobia in the 80s kicked in. Now you have to remember, Billy's audience primarily was white men, young white men, and homophobia was a thing back in the 80s. And when they saw the pink and pink and pink, it just destroyed his reputation, which is such a shame. Because if you think about where we are and how we have evolved now as a country, I don't think anybody would even think twice about it. Billy was an amazing artist at his time, hitting his peak with a number 1, well, wasn't number 1, but number 11 top song that ended his career. Music is just such a wild journey, right? It's weird to hear that you can do so well and pump out a hit that ends up ending your career because of a poor decision. Now, Billy's went on to say that the music video was, that's not what he asked for. It was edited differently, and he went on the defensive about it, which I think even hurt him even more. But anyway, I don't know all the intimate details, but I do know there's a book written about it where this whole video takes up like a complete chapter. I've never read it, I just know it exists, and I kind of know the top of the story that I shared with you. So there's probably folks watching this that are more familiar with that story, has more intimate details, and if there's anything significant I'm missing, go ahead and drop it in the comments. Do everybody a favor, share that knowledge with us. All right, how about some Joni Mitchell? This is Hissing of Summer Lawns, which is a weird title, to be honest with you. This is the VMPs. This is 2024. This is a VMP, part of the VMP Essentials release. Now, this was considered one of Joni's sort of experimental albums. She was blending jazz, rock, and African rhymes put together. And when this released, it got negative reviews. Nobody liked it. It was a horrible album. People ripped it apart on the reviews. And then later, as it aged, it became part of her acclaimed work. People loved the album. Nearly one of her best albums ever, which is just, I think it was just ahead of its time. And people just needed some time to warm up to it. I personally like it. I'm going to be bold and say I think I like it better than Blue. Which, I know that's not going to be what everybody wants to hear, but I think I like this better. In France, They Kiss on Main Street and the Jungle Line are two key tracks that I think are worth giving a listen. They are the first 2 tracks of the album, so it makes it real simple if you're streaming. But yeah, I mean, again, you just never know in the world of music what's going to happen. An album that you release that everybody kind of throws FUD on, and then all of a sudden as your career goes on, people are like, wait, oh, that was a brilliant album. Oh my god, that's such an acclaimed album. It's so weird how these things happen, isn't it? All right, let's get into a little bit of hip-hop. I know I have some fans that watch the channel that are hip-hop fans. I'm wearing a Tupac shirt, for crying out loud, and the reason I'm wearing this Tupac shirt is because I didn't show this one, but I just got the Thug Life from the Interscope Vinyl Collective, which I'm really, really excited to give a listen to. I am a big Tupac fan. I do own his entire discography, that is everything, which is really hard and expensive to acquire, but I have everything in near mint condition from his entire discography. So when that got reissued, I was really excited about it, but I haven't listened to it yet because I haven't had a chance to use the new Humming Guru Nova. But anyway, this is Redman and Method Man put together on an album. This is one of the, honestly, when you think about it, when this came out, these were probably the 2 most iconic, duos in rap history when they came out. So much raw energy, so much chemistry between these two. They did a bunch of projects like singles and stuff like that, and then finally they just decided to come out with an album which ended up debuting at number 3. So well done, right? I think everybody was just waiting for that to come out. Now, the original name of this album was actually called America's Most Blunted, with a Z instead of an S in America's, and they ended up changing that to be more commercially friendly, you know, on the name, more commercially acceptable on the name, which probably was a smart choice because I think it really helped record sales. Now, if you're wondering what is the key track here to listen to, you have to kind of spin this up and down. The Rock Wilder is the song that I would recommend. I think that is the staple of 90s hip hop. It is a fantastic song. If you're into 90s hip hop, you already probably have heard that song a million times. But if you're not, if you're new to music, and there's a lot of folks that are new to collecting music, that are young, that might not be so experienced in 90s hip hop, that's the one you go put on your Spotify, Apple, Qobuz, Tidal, pick your choice, right? That's the one I would recommend you go check out. All right, how about a little bit of Cuban music? Did I not tell you I listen to everything and I collect virtually everything? I also love Cuban music, and this is Juan Pablo Torres, Super Sun. This is also a VMP exclusive. They only think I did 300 of these. This is actually number 300, so it was the last one, I guess, printed, or last jacket printed. This is a fantastic example of Cuban songo music, bringing just lively brass and infectious rhymes to you through your needle into your speakers. And if you're not familiar, Juan is a trombonist. He was also a band leader, an arranger, and a producer. He founded a band as well. I mean, he's a very talented individual. And born in Cuba, ended up moving to Miami and passed away in Miami. But man, this reissue sounds great. It really brings new life to the whole Cuban sound. Such a cool copy, and if you were one that got one of the 300 that were reissued, you got something special in your hands, because this sounds phenomenal. Really, really, really well done. It's just another surprising record from VMP. I mean, I don't know. I'm really happy about it. I like Cuban music, so I guess for me it's okay. Taking Back Sunday, Where You Want to Be. Another VMP record here. This was their second studio album, which really helped to kind of define this emo scene in the early 2000s. You remember that was like a really big thing, the emo thing? It was like goth and then it went emo. Anyway, this really defined the music scene for them. It's received mixed reviews when it came out, but for fans of the band, it's become a favorite for them. It's got a lot of emotional lyrics and catchy hooks, which if you really love the band, that makes a lot of sense. The track that you probably would care about here is A Decade Under the Influence, kind of midway through side one. I think that's the one you would probably want to listen. And then the one right after it too. This Photograph is Proof. I Know You Know, in parentheses. They're probably the two that you would probably want to listen to. You know, it sounds okay. It sounds good. It's, you know, I don't know. It's an alright. Yeah. Alright, next up, we got Harry Nilsson's Aerial Ballet. This is the third studio album from him, and from what I understand, I don't know all the backstory here, but the name of the album comes from, I think, his parents were circus performers, and they had a high wire act or something like that called the Aerial Ballet, and that's how this name was arrived to. Don't quote me on that. I heard that from somebody, so I never fact-checked it. I'm not a really big Harry Nilsson fan, so I don't know. I mean, there's that. The song that you probably would know here, the one I think everybody would know, is Everyone's Talking, which when this came out, it initially flopped. Nobody liked it. It got bad reviews. That was kind of like the song that was supposed to be the hit song from the album, and it performed terribly. Until Midnight Cowboy, which was a film, released it as the main theme. And then I guess the movie did well. People loved the music from the movie, and all of a sudden, boom, people are buying this album. And that's that. I mean, it's literally the reverse of like Billy Squier's issue, right? Where, you know, he creates a chart-topping song, creates a video asset, destroys his career. Nilsson here, you know, he creates a song nobody likes, and then all of a sudden it's put in a video asset, everybody likes it. It's so weird how these things happen, right? So weird. The music industry is just weird. Fans are just weird. You know, it's I don't know. We live in a weird world. All right, the next record up was actually recommended to me by my friends over at Experience Vinyl, and I'm glad they recommended it to me, which is the record company. This is the fourth album. That's what it's called, the fourth album, which is their fourth album, in case you were wondering. Now, if you're not familiar with the record company, they are a LA rock band. And they've opened up for John Mayer, B.B. King, Bob Seger, and many, many others. So you know they're talented. They have a raw rock sound reminiscent of early blues rock bands. They have a couple singles on here too. The one that you may have heard is Talk to Me. That's one you may have heard. And then since we've been talking about Keb Mo lately, the one track on here is the closing track, You Made a Mistake, really reminded me of a Keb Mo song. The way that it's done, the way it's recorded, etc., that's what it sounds like to me. Now, the album quality here, I mean, you're not buying a high fidelity record here. It's not like you're getting something that is going to blow your socks off, but the music here, well, that makes up for it. If you're buying records because of the music, you're going to love this album and this pressing. You could pick this up over at Experience Vinyl. It's fairly inexpensive. It's definitely not going to break the bank. I don't even think it's $10, to be honest with you. So if you're looking to explore some new music, build out your collection, and you're not like an audiophile pain in the butt like some of us are, I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's a fun album. I actually listened to it about 3 times since I had it. I really enjoy the music, and I recommend it. I really do. I recommend giving it a try. Okay, this is the last one, wrapping it up, but it's a fun one, and this one actually caught me off guard. This was another limited edition from VMP, but it is the Bob Marley One Love, and what I thought I was getting, this is why I was surprised, what I thought I was getting was the soundtrack with an alternative cover. Because I didn't read the description. Because that's, if it's Bob Marley, I'm getting it. But what I ended up getting was an album that was basically a bunch of cover songs from other artists. So you have Bloody Civilian, Skip Marley, Daniel Caesar, Casey Musgraves, WizKids, Jesse Reyes, Leon Bridges, Farico, Mystic Marley, and Shensia. All done cover songs of Marley songs. And I gotta tell you, it's done well. I was really surprised. I was really surprised in how awesome these songs sound. Casey Musgraves' take on Three Little Birds is just awesome. Skip Marley's Exodus is also fantastic. Leon Bridges singing the Redemption song is wonderful. This is so, this was just such a cool find for me, especially being a Bob Marley fan. I was really super excited when I got this because it wasn't what I expected because I didn't do my research because I'm lazy. And 2, when I dropped the needle on it, I was just, man, this is just such an awesome album. This is another one that since I've owned it, I have played repeated times just because it's such a good album. So I do recommend if you can get your hands on this, even if it's not the VMP version. I don't know if they've done anything to the general public, but this, if you love reggae music and you're a Bob Marley fan, or you watched One Love and you enjoyed the film, try to pick this up. This is fantastic. Really, really great record. Folks, that wraps it up today. Is not the end of all haul videos. I have probably another 20 to 25 records stacked up behind that I'll do in another video. This one's already long enough, so we're not going to keep going on anymore. Plus, I have 2 collections, and I'm always getting new things in. I got a little bit of a stack growing there back in the corner. I know there's a couple things that are in order that are in flight that should be arriving this week, so I have plenty of content for you. So stick around, grab yourself a cup of coffee, and I'll see you on the next video.